You may want to take a couple little notes, um, but want to make sure I give you guys a good, entertaining, and informative session. Alrighty. So I am Erica Danielle. I am the CEO of Canna Nurse Heal. My main mission really is to help educate, normalize cannabis use. I am a cannabis consultant and I can work with clients one-on-one. I'm also a meditation practitioner, and I'm really big on, for women, us understanding that deliciousness is our birthright and how to use the key ingredients of medicate, masturbate, and meditate to create a delicious life of bliss. Um, if you're interested in more on that, I do have my ebook that is at my website of cannanurseheal.com. But today, we're going to stay on track with the consumption. When I think of cannabis, I like to think, or cannabis consumption and safety. I think safety, sometimes we think, oh, this is rules and regulations, and no one wants to think about that. But I like to compare safe consumption with being the new sexy. You know, when you think of it from that way, it's like, oh, it's not that bad. This is kind of, tell me more, okay? So safe consumption is the new sexy. It should be approached, I feel like how I view sexiness is someone who's confident, who knows what they want, and they know how to get it. And when I think of us using cannabis, we should have the same mindset, really. Is we should be very confident in what we want, what we need, and feel comfortable and confident asking for those things when we're going to the dispensary and when we're looking for products, as opposed to sometimes like, oh, I don't know, maybe, or I shouldn't ask questions. So being very comfortable and confident in what you need and knowing how to get it. So we're going to talk about edibles and how to stay safe with the use. So I'm going to pull up my screen here. I'm going to share with you guys. I have a little checklist that I have created, so you'll be able to see that. I won't be able to see you, but if you have questions, please let me know. Put them in the chat box, or if you want to show your face, definitely, bring yourself on and you can ask questions or have any comments. So this is my delicious bliss checklist. I have to make everything sound, I guess, kind of sexy and yummy. That makes it interesting to me. But I created this a little while back regarding just safe use of edibles. And I thought a checklist is something you can kind of, okay, did I do this? Do I got that? Do I have this? To make it a lot easier and simpler to follow along with. If any of you would like this checklist, you want to have it for yourself, please reach out to me. I'm on Instagram as Canna Nurse Heal. So you can definitely just slide in my DM. Let me know you want a copy of this delicious checklist, and I will get that sent over to you. No problem. But so let's get back to this delicious experience that we want to have when we're consuming edibles. Now, as we know, a lot of us have had a bad experience, right? It started out amazing. We're like, I'm going to take this brownie, I'm going to use this whatever, eat this product, and next thing we know, it's all bad. I've had that experience on a plane. That's a whole nother story. So I definitely understand the fear. And sometimes this really shuts people off of even wanting to try it again or even experiment with any other cannabis products because they've had such a bad experience. And for me, just being a RN, as a nurse, as a woman, as a human, I feel like the one thing that's really missed outside of, people just not trying cannabis again, is that they may have some things that they're dealing with. It could be issues with their sleep, relaxation, anxiety, and many other things that they could be dealing with that are still not managed. And this could actually be something that could help them with it. But again, they've been so turned off that they're like, nope, I'm not doing it. So there are a few things that you want to start to put into mind when you're thinking of using edibles. Now, first things first, I always say you want to start with what is your intention? What you trying to get out of this? A lot of people just say, I just ate an edible because somebody had some, or we do something, but we really don't even know what is it that we're trying to get. Are we expecting to look like what we see in the media or in movies or someone that we know? What is it that we really want? And taking the time to think, what is my intention? I've realized outside of just using cannabis that when I'm more intentional with what I do, things turn out a lot better. And it has definitely proven true when I apply that same thought process to using cannabis. It's completely changed my experience. So being intentional first. What is it? Some people are like, yo, I just want to be high as the sky, feeling oh so bright, And if that's the case, all right, let's find some products that work for you. You may say, hey, I still want to, I just want to relax and have a good weekend by myself, maybe watch catch up on some Netflix, just chill out, but still be present. I want to be aware. I don't want to feel too high. It's really about setting your intention, whatever that is. When you set your intention, then you want to slide on down to now I can kind of narrow down what am I looking for? What type of product? And of course, when it comes to edibles nowadays, there are so many different options, so many different options. And within the different types of edibles that you can have and consume, there are, now we have different strains of cannabis that are used. And there are even some edibles that are more sativa, more uplifting, energizing, the creative side. And there are the ones that can have us a little bit more stuck and chill. So again, when you start with your intention and knowing what it is that you're trying to get to, what it is that you, don't matter what nobody else say you're supposed to feel or what you saw on a movie. This is my incense over here burning. But none of that matters. It's about what your intentions are. What do you want to get out of this? Then you can ease on down to kind of narrowing down your options and seeing what works best for you. Now, once we get that product and we're back home and we're nice and cozy, somewhere comfortable or wherever you're going to be, I always say it needs to be a comfortable environment, especially if you're trying something for the first time. This is a new product for you. You want to be in a safe space, okay? Now, as we go through our checklist, you've got your items, you're in your safe space, okay? You got that. You know what your intentions are because you knew what you needed to go get. So first things first is we need to start low and go slow. Slow it on down. A lot of us have a hard time with that. When it comes to edibles, we have to understand that how they work in our body is that it's a delay in when we get the effect. And the dose can be up to 3 times more potent, the effects that we have, compared to like smoking. I bring that up because there are a lot of times when people who smoke on a regular basis or consume cannabis on a regular basis, they're like, 10 milligram edibles, that's nothing. I'll take 5. I smoke all day. I've been using cannabis for years. And they kind of downplay the edibles. But again, because of how it's processed in our bodies and broken down, it's going to, one, take a lot longer for you to feel that effect. And that effect can be up to 3 times more potent. Okay? So this, if you kind of think, maybe that is why I had that situation, because I did eat the whole brownie. They told me to take a bite. I was like, nah, I'm going to eat the whole thing. You see, it kind of makes sense. So you want to go low, start low, and go slow. And by slow, I mean at least an hour, at least, because it can take up to 3 to 4 hours sometimes for it to kind of like really kick in. And then that can last for even a few more hours after that. So you want to take your time. Again, we're eating and we're like, oh, I don't notice nothing. I'm going to eat some more. I don't notice nothing. And then by the time it kicks in, you are so gone. You are flying so high, yet you're so stuck. So the big thing we want to start with is making sure we are starting with the lowest dose. The good thing too is now when you're getting your products, they have a serving size. They'll say, this 1 serving, it may be 10 in here, but you do 1 serving. Many times, who really looks at the serving size on foods? This is the time you need to pay attention to that. So starting with that lowest dose and waiting, seeing how you're feeling, taking that time. And I think that's the one thing we need to understand with cannabis is it really helps us learn how to be human beings. I'm saying it, yes, put me on the record. I feel like cannabis really helps us learn how to be a human being. Usually, we think we're brought here as human doers, right? We're not human beings, we're human doers. We just go, 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 go. We do things on autopilot. We don't stop to think, to take a moment. And with using cannabis, especially as you're learning your body and how it reacts and what works and doesn't, you have to really learn how to be. Be present right now, be aware, be mindful, of what's going on. And so During that start low and go slow, that's really a part of that, getting you into that habit of, let me just start paying attention to what I'm feeling. Let me be in this moment and let it do what it do. So the next thing we want to have is some water, H2O. Hydration is key. Yes, it is. As we know, with even smoking, sometimes you can get dry mouth and you really, have the desire to drink more water or more fluids. With consuming cannabis, you want to stay hydrated. Help get your body flushing, keep things in balance. You want to keep your water with you. I always say water and weed are friends indeed. Okay, so stay hydrated. Keep you a bottle of water with you and close to you. Don't just say, oh, it's downstairs in the kitchen. I'll get it in a minute. Because that minute may turn into a couple hours and now you're feeling like really good. And that kitchen just seems so far away, right? So get what you need. You got your checklist now. So you can say, am I ready? I know what my intentions are. I've got my stuff. Let me get everything else in place. So first we're going to start low and take our time. Sounds sexy, right? Start low and take your time. Then we're going to make sure we keep it hydrated. Okay? Hydration is key. Keep you some water. Okay? We need that. The next thing is just add a little CBD. I know some people are like, again, I smoke all the time, Erica. I use cannabis on a regular. I use marijuana. What do I need CBD for? Why? For what? Well, even those who are experienced in using different forms of cannabis, again, like I say, when it comes to edibles, then babies take their time to kick in. And when they do, they can bring a nice hearty punch. And so if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh, I think I have gone a little bit too far, I've gone beyond return, having CBD on hand will help to bring that high on down. Bring it on down. So you'll still feel good. You're still getting that relief. But that highness, it's like, oh, come here. Let me pull you back down. Let me get you together. So having CBD on hand is definitely one thing that you need to always have. Even if you're a person, again, who, like I say, you've been straight marijuana for years, this is what you do. You are maybe a professional when it comes to smoking or dabbing or other options. But I can promise you, when it comes to these edibles, just having that little bit of CBD, have some. And even as you're looking for products, it's good to look for products that are also do have a nice amount of CBD in it, because it will provide a balance where you're getting that good high, but it's like not too high. You're not too going far away, right? So making sure you keep use some CBD, and that can be even in the drop form, which I prefer because you get the effects a lot quicker, and it comes in like a tincture, an oil or alcohol-based tincture. They're like in little vials. You can put that right up under your tongue and start to see yourself slowly coming back down to the goodness. Okay, so keeping CBD on hand. There are definitely many options out there. And if you ever need help with, looking for recommendations, reach out to me. I'm a health partner with Jointly and a wellness partner with Jointly. And that is an app that you can download, and it kind of even helps to guide you as well with looking for products. So that is another app that you can download and utilize to find products that fit your needs. So we've got, let's see, how far are we at? Moving on to number 4. We've understood to start low and go slow. We know that hydration is key. Give me the water. We need to stay hydrated. And not just in the other room or downstairs or down the hall. Keep that baby next to you. Keep that water right next to you. Also, just a little CBD. Sometimes that's all it takes, but making sure to keep some CBD on hand in case you find yourself saying, forget this checklist this week, or, oh, I think I remember what I need to do, or I didn't even know there was a checklist. Making sure now that you keep some CBD on hand to kind of rescue you from flying far away. Also, I think it's so important that you jot the pot. That's what I like to call it. And that's really just journaling your experience. I know some people are like, when do I have time to journal? I'm trying to be in the moment. A lot of times, even if it's right after or then, later on in the day, you'll know how you felt. You'll know if that was a bad experience or a good one. again, as you're learning to go from the human doer to the human being, not just doing, but being, you may say in the midst of your amazing, blissful experience, let me just write it down how I feel and just let it flow, not trying to be correct grammatically or anything, just letting it flow from your soul. And you may be surprised at like, oh my God, wow, look at what really worked. And what did I have last night? Okay, I know, now I know what works. So having a cannabis journal is super dope, no pun intended, but pun intended a little. It really is dope because one of the big reasons I love having a journal is because if you are taking cannabis and you are using edibles um, as one of the forms, and maybe you're using it to kind of treat or not really treat, but manage some of your conditions you're dealing with. This is a way you can you can show your healthcare providers, your doctors, whoever you're seeing, hey, so I've been using cannabis also along with my treatment, as we discussed, doctor. And this is what I want to show you. This is how things have been changing. So I started here at a 10 pain or anxiety 10 out of 10 or whatever the case. And then I took this and then I waited. And around this time, this is how I felt. And I felt this way for however long. So one, it's really good to keep track of it for that way. It's a way to open up those conversations with your healthcare providers, which is something that I think is super important. And I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable doing that. So here you'll kind of have something to kind of back you up and not just, well, yeah, it works. Well, what are you using? I do some edibles. But then you can say, hey, I took an edible. I took this, this specific one. This was the dose I took. This is how I felt before. 2 hours later, I was in complete bliss. I was just a coloring and chilling, or whatever the case. You can take that with you, just as you would your blood pressure results or anything else. So that is one of the main reasons that I think it's important to keep track of those. Also, just for your own use. If you're trying different products and you're like, I wonder, maybe you're new to this, so you're not really sure what works or what doesn't. And what we have to understand when it comes to cannabis, it's not a one size fit all. It's not just like a medicine over the counter. Oh, you just take 1 or 2 pills every few hours and you're good. No, that's not how it works, unluckily. Everyone is different. Our bodies are different. Even though there's so much similarity within our bodies, we're all unique. And with that uniqueness, it's very specific when it comes to cannabis use. That's a very unique experience for each person. And so as you're going through your journey and experimenting with different types of cannabis, different routes of use, different doses and things, you can keep track of what worked and what didn't work. Why not? Because again, I know that, purchasing cannabis can be expensive, right? So if you already know what didn't work, you don't have to, maybe go back and get something else. And it's like, oh, I should have known this didn't work. I tried that before. So that way you can keep track. And like I say, not just of the good, but also what doesn't work so that you kind of can know what to tweak, what to avoid. So jot the pot experience. Next, I say bud over booze. Now, do not get me wrong. There are people who enjoy a nice cocktail with their herb. There is nothing wrong with that. It is your business. And as long as you are being safe, you do what works for you. I do recommend when you are starting off using cannabis edibles and you're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work, it is good to do it with just that. Don't add in anything else that could have an effect on it, good or bad, because you want to see how am I reacting to this cannabis, to this dose, edible, whatever it is, gummies, this pie, this whatever. You want to see how you are reacting to that. As we know, a nice cocktail or two or more, it can affect certain things. It will affect your motor skills, how you think, things like that. So if that's something that can alter your outcome with the edible, we want to just shy away from that. Now, you may get to a point where you understand your limit, you know just how much to take, you know how to, create your own recipe of deliciousness, then hey, you do you. But I always recommend in the beginning, don't try to mix it up. Don't, I'm going to have some drinks and I'm going to do these edibles, or even, smoking and drinking. I think it's really important that you figure out what works with just that. so that then you can know what you need to add. Or, maybe, hey, I don't even, actually, you may realize I don't even really need to drink. I thought I needed that, but I don't. So, bud over booze. That's my thing. I always say, and I know I've had people like, girl, I keeps me a cocktail. And I'm like, hey, you're more experienced and you've known, you've been able to try and error, trial and error and know what works and what doesn't work. And then there are some people who just do it because it's a habit. We're used to having a cocktail, and then you may not smoke a cigarette, but you got your joint. So again, I think if we just try to do it without, we may be surprised at how much we don't even need to have a drink. Okay? So we are moving right along. Okay? We've got, let's see, start low, go slow. Okay? We're going to stay hydrated. Keep hydration, keep your water. We're going to make sure we keep some CBD on hand because we know every now and then we just don't pay attention to this checklist. We don't pay attention to how much we had, and we just eating. And next thing we know, we're floating off. So we're going to keep that CBD so it can bring us back down, but make us still feel good. Also, we're going to keep track of our use. Journal it. Write it down. What are you using? What time of day? Where were you at? What were you feeling like? And then on the back end, how do I feel now? Discuss that and keeping track of that, not just for yourself, but also as a way to kind of bridge that uncomfortable gap that we sometimes have when it comes to talking to our healthcare providers. And I know that for majority of us on here, our main goal, or if not all of us, our main goal is to make cannabis a normal part of our lives. And if we're using it for, hey, I just need a moment of relaxing, because some people go home and have a drink and they say, oh, I can't wait to go home and have my drink, open that bottle of wine. We should feel just as comfortable saying, I can't wait to go home and smoke that pre-roll I have waiting for me, right? And also, if we're looking at it for a more medicinal use, the more we talk about this and the more we normalize it, and especially when it comes to talking to our healthcare providers, we can again create that normal use of it where it's not, oh, she's the one that uses the drug, she's the one that uses weed for relief. So, again, I think it's so important that we do keep track of our experiences and how it's working for us, and also what doesn't work, so we don't have to go back down that route. We've also talked about bud over booze, making sure that you at least begin your experience without anything else that can alter you. Just the bud. Okay? How they'll say just the tip, just the bud. That's all you need. Just the bud. That's it. See how your body reacts to it, how you feel. And again, like I say, you may realize I don't even need that drink. I really thought I had to have a drink every night I came home. And there are some of us who may do that or may have been like, that used to be me, where it's like every day, it's like every Friday I got to have happy hour, or every day I come home, I've got to have this glass of wine or a shot or whatever the case, or this beer. You may realize I don't even need that. This is what's helping me. And it's a lot better for our bodies anyway, right? So definitely start with just the bud, see how your body reacts. Again, we're going to go back to that being human being, right? We're going to move from that just do, go, not paying attention to being present. How am I feeling? Being more reflective and saying, you know what? I don't need to spend that much money on drinks. That can just go towards my cannabis. So now we're going to move on to what I call the herbal hideout. So what I mean by that is because edibles now are looking like pretty much anything, right? They can look like a container of Sour Patch Kids. They can look like candy bars and juices, fruit punch. They can look like everything. Potato chips, flaming hot Cheetos. I've seen those. Everything. They can look like everything. A regular cookie, sugar cookies, lemon cookies, pies. They can look like everyday food. And if you have other people in the home who should not be getting into cannabis without someone overseeing, or maybe they are just should not be getting into it at all, you want to make sure that you put your herbs, your products somewhere away. Now, if you need to put them in the refrigerator, making sure you store them in something, maybe hiding them so that it's not kids coming home from school like, oh my God, who put these flaming hot Cheetos in here? That's crazy. Taking them out and now your kids don't, right? Not a good experience. Not something we want to have happen. Or leaving them around and maybe we have elderly family members or other family members who just do not use, or even if they do, but they're not expecting that that's what they're eating, and now they're high and maybe they had to go to work and they thought they were just getting a little snack before work. So having them somewhere safe. And that's what this safety is about. It's not just about us using it, how we put it in our bodies and things like that, but actually being safe with how we store it in our home. Making it like, your medicine. There are certain things you're just not leaving around the home. Even if you do have a drink or two, you usually don't just have a bottle of vodka open just out somewhere, or putting it in a cup or putting it in a Sunny Delight bottle with orange juice, but it looks like the regular orange juice in the refrigerator. Like you're usually, most of the time when we're being safe, right? We're like, hey, I might want to put this in a different container, or I may want to put this up somewhere so that the kids or whoever else in the home doesn't get to it. Even pets. Some of our pets are like, they're like little people and they want to eat what you eat. So again, if you're leaving food around and they're sniffing and now your dog's super high, we don't need that. So find you a nice little herbal hideout to keep your products. If they are something that you don't want to melt, like chocolate or things, and you want to put them in the refrigerator, again, putting them in something, this is mom's medicine, putting it in a bag or putting it, a lot of times kids don't look really far in the refrigerator. I can say that. They'll open it, and if it's not like front row, they don't see it. They don't see it. I don't know what it is about their eyeballs, but they can't see. If it's not right there, it doesn't exist. So making sure you put it somewhere where you don't forget, so you know where it is. You might want to jot that pot down. And also that it's not in easy access or reach to those in the home who should not have it unsupervised or who should not have access to it at all. Also, keeping track of time. I want to make sure I'm not going over. So good. We're doing really, really good with time. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So the next one I want to talk about is snack before you snack. Okay? Snack before you snack. Wink, wink, right? So here's what happens. We're like, oh, I'm going to an event. And sometimes, people are doing catered events of food, right? Where it's like a whole experience. I was just listening in the whole experience, right? And I'm like, oh, I want that. Amazing. Sometimes, though, you may think you're just going to like the buffet or grandma's house for Sunday dinner. So you're like, I'm not going to eat nothing. And now you may find yourself overindulging. This could even be not even out at an experience, because a lot of times if you're at an experience, they're going to kind of guide you, like, this is how much you'll have of this. This is how much you'll have of that. So a lot of times you're a lot safer in those settings. But if you're at home and, you like popcorn and you decide to get some infused caramel popcorn and that is your favorite thing, even though they told you, only do, let's say, a quarter of this bag. I'm just going to throw a random number out. They say, oh, only have this much, a quarter cup. You're like, I ain't never in my life just had a quarter cup of popcorn. They are crazy. And it's so good, you can't even taste it. You're like, I don't even know there's weed in here. So you're just eating your popcorn, living your best life. You hungry anyway, because now you're thinking you're eating like a snack, right? Like it's just some Orville Redenbacher. No, it is cannabis-infused popcorn. So now you're super high because that quarter cup has become the whole bag. You know how that's going to go, right? You had 4 servings in one. Not going to probably end up the best. So a lot of time, what I tell people is, this should not be your meal, okay? This should not actually be the meal that you're having. Now, when it is dosed properly, you can definitely have a meal. But a lot of times when we're at home on our own, we're eating the whole thing, right? Because we didn't eat today, and we're like, oh, I picked up these little treats. I've got some candies, and I've got some chocolates. Maybe you're having like a chocolate fit, those cravings, and you're like, oh my God, this brownie is good. And you may just be eating and not paying attention, because you know how we can do as humans, not paying attention. You on watching Netflix and you're just all in, and brownies going now. You may have even started dibbling in the popcorn that you bought too, because you're like, oh, this good too. You want to make sure you've had some food. Kind of, this is just a snack. So make sure you snack before the snack so you don't overdo it. That's one way to help you avoid overdoing it or overindulging because, yeah, we've had those experiences where we've had too much. We just didn't know it was too much until it was too late, right? So snack before you snack so you don't over snack and you don't get too high in the sky. And now my last one, I put here, just relax. That's why I just added that little cute little just relax. I think a lot of times we worry so much about what should I feel like, what's going to happen, this and that. We go through all of those things. I'm going to stop sharing really quick. But we go through all of those things. How am I going to feel? Hello, hello. Or am I going to look like this? Is this going to happen? We get so freaked out that we forget to just be in the moment, relax. Like I say, be human beings. Let's just be in the moment. Quit having all these expectations of, I don't know, am I going to feel how I felt last time? This ain't what they look like on TV. Wait a minute, relax and enjoy. So, right, so don't eat the whole bar, Heather. I know it's hard. It is hard because it's so good. And that's why I've had to learn I can't do it hungry because that happened to me. I was getting ready to get on a plane and I was kind of hungry. And I completely forgot that the little brownie bites were not just like brownie bites, they were super infused. And I'm just like digging in my bag and just eating. And by the time that flight was like up there, and I was like, the plane, I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. What is happening? I'm just looking at some of these comments. And if any of you wanted to come on stage, is it, ooh, do you want to come on, Anna? Ooh, I think I let you on. Okay, I'm not sure. Let me, maybe it didn't. I thought it showed you. I think it had you at the bottom coming on. But if you guys have questions, please let me know. I'm trying to look through some of the comments here. No effect, lots of testing. Yes, I know it's actually involved. And I have.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? What's
Good.
going on?
Oh my gosh, I enjoyed everything. The tips are amazing. I was in and out, so I didn't know if you got an opportunity to talk about like a really bad high that you have
Oh my
had.
God. That's
Do you
what
have
I
a
was
story?
just talking about. So that's what really messed me. I think had me for a minute, kind of like I want to do edibles. No, 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 because I was coming from LA, and so um, this is probably not a good thing to say, but I had some edible brownies in my carry-on bag. Oh, don't judge me, okay? I don't know how they got there, but somehow they were there.
It was the fairy. It was the weed fairy.
It was someone sprinkled me. I don't know. I thought they were just brownie bites, and so I'm at the airport and I'm sitting there and I'm just like eating them, just eating, not paying. And then I also had like some almonds that were just regular almonds. So I got my almonds and I'm good. I'm good. By the time we get on the plane and we're like literally up, and I'm coming from LA going to Detroit, I started freaking the heck out. Like, I start fidgeting. Like, I just felt like this burst of like energy. And I'm like, in this middle seat is my husband and this other guy who's like, he kept laughing. And then that was freaking me out. And I'm like, and I kept thinking, is he laughing at me? It was so weird. And then I'm like, oh my God. So my husband's like, are you okay? What is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you hot? Because I'm hot. You think you need some water? What's going on? Like, I just was non-stop. I'm cutting the air on and off. I'm taking off my sweatshirt. I'm taking off my shoes. And then I'm like, keep it together. You're on a plane. Keep it together. It was just, that was the worst plane ride. And even once we landed, I was so freaking paranoid. It was horrible. And for a while, I think that was 2017, 2018, I didn't do any more edibles up until last year. So like the last 2 years, I was like, nope.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And then I realized once I started to again start with an intent, take my time, and realize that if you're gonna do a brownie bite, it's a bite. not bites. There's no S on that.
Yeah.
It's
One
been
of
so
the
much
Yeah.
best
better.
tips I've ever heard for edibles is like go to the dispensary and get what you want, and then go to like Trader Joe's or a grocery store and get something that's very closely like that. Eat this much of your edible and then snack away on the non-medicated thing that is very
Right.
similar so that you can snack as much as you
Yeah.
want
I
and
love
not go
that.
crazy.
Yeah, because
That's a
you
great
know,
tip.
when you see those, like I say, everything now is infused. So you can have just something, like I say, as simple as popcorn. And I'm never just going to have like three kernels. Like, who does that? That's disrespectful.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I don't like sweet edibles for that reason because I am a sugarholic, and so I make my own infusions of oils and butter so that I can make my own because it's like candy, and it's like that's another thing. I don't want to eat sugar, you know. Sometimes I don't feel like
Right.
it.
And that's what I love about it too, is now I have like infused olive oil, coconut oil that I can use to cook with, and kind of, more so micro dosing it where it's not so much, just a little like, So I love that way too. Definitely. Well, I thank you all. Are there any other questions? I'm looking over here. Oh, and thank you about the sense of humor. Thank you. I think that is my gift that I have to bring for Rumpa Pum Pum.
You're a great presenter. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna. And again, if you guys need that checklist, just send me a message. I will send it right over. If you ever have questions, I'm on Instagram, Canna Nurse Heal. You can always reach out.
Her website, I tagged it in the chat there.
Oh,
You
cool.
can find
Oh,
her
yeah.
Instagram and her website. This has been so great, Erica. Thank you so much. I learned a
Thank
lot because I'm that
you.
person, like, I smoke a lot of pot, but if I eat weed, I do not eat weed well at all. And I know that about myself. My like magic dose is like 10 milligrams max. Anything more than that, I'm like, I need to go the frick to bed.
I know, right? Or I'm just like out. I've done it where I woke up like, when did I go to sleep? When did that?
Oh my God, I have woken up high the next day and I'm so angry. I'm like, I didn't choose this today. I chose it yesterday.
Right. Yes. And that's how I know, like, edibles are cool. I know smoking is more my thing because I feel like, since it gets the effect so quick, it's like, okay, I'm good. That edible, you got to know how to play with it.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you, Amanda. Thank you. I was over here squinting. I have no glasses on. So I'm like, what does it say?
It definitely is a planned event. Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Yes, and
Planned
that's why it has to
for
be very intentional. Like I'm at the age where I can't be playing games and just like, oh, I'll just randomly do some edibles. No, mm-mm,
sure.
no.
I will say though, getting on an airplane is one of my favorite times to eat edibles. Like, right before I get to the airport, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have, 10 to 15 milligrams, and that way I'll be nice and chill for the
Right.
whole flight, maybe fall asleep. It's gonna be great. I'll just wake up where I'm going. This is perfect.
Now I know. Luckily, I had to learn the hard way doing the whole container of brownies.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite like overconsumption stories wasn't me this time, thankfully, but my roommate. She owned a dispensary and I ran her dispensary years ago, like back in the medical days here in
Mm-hmm.
Oregon when edible limits were not a thing and you could get like crazy, ridiculous
Whoa.
amounts that were way too much. And we would get samples as, the dispensary owners and whatnot, we'd get samples of all mess of stuff. And, my girlfriend, roommate, her and her boyfriend and I were at home one night. We were all hanging out and like, okay, guys, I'm going to bed. She had eaten like tried this like Rice Krispie treat that had been given to us as a sample. I went to bed. I get up the next morning and come out into the kitchen and I see like her clothes strewn all over the kitchen, like her bra, her shirt, her pants, all over the kitchen. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, you guys getting freaky in the kitchen? Like,
Right.
okay, whatever. And when she got up, she's like, oh my God, Wendy, something happened to me last night. I got so freaking high. I ate like half a loaf of garlic bread because I was so hungry. And I think I expanded my stomach that it was pushing on my lungs. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I stripped all my clothes off and was spraying myself with the kitchen sink sprayer. And I'm like, oh my God.
Say to have been a fly on the wall, like, oh my god.
I know, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, I thought you guys were like getting down on the kitchen counter or something. She's like, no, I thought I was dying.
Right, right. She's like, not close, not at all.
It was so funny. And so just like, I feel like everybody has these like way too high moments on edibles. And it's just like,
Yeah.
it's funny, but also like, that's terrifying sometimes.
Right. In the moment, it's horrible because, like, my aunt had a sick. I always would laugh at her, and I always thought it wouldn't happen to me. But and I'm not sure why she just ate the butter. Like, we still haven't understood why she just thought I should just eat a bite on this stick of butter. I was like, what? But she got so high, and this is my aunt. Like, just to say, it's not like I have a younger aunt. Like, I'm 40, so she's aunt age. Okay, let's just be clear. Okay. She was
Sounded
so,
good. I'm going to try this out.
I'm like, just the butter? You didn't even make like toast or anything.
Spit of
She
butter,
was
whatever.
so, she could not, she's like, I had to like slide my body down the steps to get to water. It was just, oh my God, her whole story was hilarious. I'm like, okay, auntie, get it together. No
I
more
love
butter.
it. So good.
Oh,
What is your favorite kind of edible? And maybe you said that earlier when I wasn't here, but what's your fave?
no, because actually, as of lately, I have like, and it's a particular brand that I like. They're like sativa quickies. They're little gummies. They come in a 10 pack. The taste is really, really good. Like, I am not a paid spokesperson for them or anything, but I love the taste, and it really does give me a nice, good high. Like, I can take one and then like go about my day, and it's like I'm like floating like a little Mario brother, but getting stuff done too.
Mario Brother,
I
yes.
feel like I hear the music like
Loud person. Oh my God,
like as
yes.
I tackle my day, it's like I hit another mushroom. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm getting bigger.
Oh my God,
So
I
I
love it.
love those. I was just telling my dad yesterday he's going to a dispensary by our house. I'm like, he stays near me. I'm like, can you pick me up some of those quickies? Like, how times have changed, and now these are the conversations I have with my dad. You know, you're going to the dispensary. Can you put in an order for me, Dad?
Right?
First dose, I say no. 10 milligram is usually the smallest. But even lower. Now here's
I
the thing.
love it. In Oregon, I tell people, like at the dispensary, you're talking to noobs, I tell them, like, because usually, so in Oregon, our cap on recreational legal edibles is 50 milligrams in a package.
Oh,
So whether it's
100.
gummies or whatever, a lot of companies have done it like, okay, here's a 10 pack, they're 5 milligrams each of whatever, it's a gummy or a chocolate bar, and it's in 10 sections. And so I'll tell people, like, start with half of one 5 milligram thing.
Just see
See
how
how
you
you
do.
feel, wait an hour, eat the other half if you're feeling okay. That's just my.
And that does make sense. And the other thing too is, have you ever, if you're like, I've never ever used anything, I always say, start at the lowest. And even though you may say, oh, for me, 10, I realize that is where I need to start and stay. That's just enough. I don't need any more than that. I get that. But yeah, I would say 5 or even 2.5. But
Mhm.
what is your previous experience? If you've never had anything, this is your very first time, go as low as you can and just work your way up. Because the thing is, you can always add more, but you can't take away what you've already taken. So if you're like,
Mhm.
couple hours, I don't know, just take a little bit more, and then take a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Like salt, use a little. You can't take it away.
Right.
Yeah, see, Anna, same. 10 milligrams is like I am feeling good. And I try to like use myself as a comparison for people because I'm like, okay, listen, like I smoke weed all freaking day, every day. I can take dab after dab and still like do some math or some shit, you know?
Right.
But if
Yeah.
I eat more than 10 milligrams, I legitimately need to go to bed. I am done. I am not good for anything. Like my eyes are done. I'm sitting there like, oh, that pie eye and like I smoke a lot of weed, and that's
Yeah. Edibles make me more
milligrams
have the munchies
of
than smoke.
weed. And people will be like, "Oh, well, I'm twice your size, so I'll eat more." I'm like, "It don't matter. It does not
Matter.
matter."
It does not matter at all. And that's why one of my cousins, that happened where we were at a Halloween party a few years ago, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna do two because you're doing one, and I'm like twice your size." I'm like, "Don't." I feel like it was like a slow movie. I'm like, "Don't do it."
Oh,
Dude,
don't fall for it. It's a trap.
she was done. I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm like, you're breathing right now. Get it together.
If you can talk, you
Get it
can breathe.
together.
Trust me.
I'm like, I can't though. I'm like, but you are.
Yeah.
So yes, people think, oh, I'm bigger or I smoke all the time. I'm like, don't let that fool you. Do not
It's
let that
how
fool
your
you.
body processes and metabolizes things. It has absolutely nothing to do with your size, your tolerance, none of it. Like one of my best girlfriends now, she's like half of my size, 110 pounds soaking wet, tiny little thing. And edibles do not affect her at all. When we had the dispensary in medical days, one time is a different girl, but she, we knew that she didn't get affected. And so we're like, oh, these gummies, they were called bomb jellies. And they had like stupid amounts. And she got a 500 milligram one as a sample one time. She's like, I'm gonna eat this whole thing just to see. Did not get high, but broke out in freaking hives. Like, and she is so tiny, just this tiny petite little thing, and they just don't phase her. And so it's just like, I tell everybody, like, dude, does not matter how big you are, how big your tolerance is. Start low, go slow, because you
Yep.
could ruin your day and maybe tomorrow.
Really? Yeah. Or even say, I don't want it at all. I'm never gonna do it again. Nope, nope, nope. So take your time.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like it is 3:12, so the second round of sessions are getting started. As a administrator, as a production person of this event, I actually have to go because I have to go put these little pins in
I'm
everybody's.
gonna go over there as well and see what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Erica. This was awesome. You did amazing.
Thank
And I hope to see
you.
you in a session in a minute.
Yes. See you in a minute.
Bye.
Bye.